Up. Holkar first, Sean Briscoe looking for a big game against his old club at full-back. Ben Cockayne, Jake Webster, Chris Wellham and Peter Fox, their leading try scorer, make up the three-quarters. Paul Cook and Michael Dobson are the half-backs. Michael Vella, Ben Fisher and Scott Wheeldon are the front row. Clint Newton, Ben Galea and Scott Morrell completing the Rovers pack. Just one change on the bench from the team that won against the Celtic Crusaders. Daniel Fitzhenry comes in for Chaz Ianson. The rest of the subs, Chev Walker, Nick Fozzard and Jason Netherton. Justin Morgan is the Hull KR coach. Moving on to the Wigan side. Cameron Phelps is at fullback. Amos Roberts, Phil Bailey, as they say, slotting into the centre. George Carmont returns. Pat Richards. Tim Smith and Thomas Lullaby are the halfbacks. Andy Coley, Mark Riddell and Paul Prescott. Joel Tompkins comes into the second row with all the switching of Bailey and the absence of Martin Gleeson. Harrison Hansen and Sean O'Loughlin returns to the side to captain the Warriors. And on their bench tonight, Stuart Fielden, Becca Palliasina, Michael McAlorum and Sam Tompkinson. Brian Noble is the Wigan coach. So talking of the coaches, let's get their thoughts ahead of tonight's match. First of all, we spoke to Justin Morgan and asked him what all the trials and tribulations at Wigan had done to the Hull KR preparations.
Something that we don't have any control over, how they react to it or how it's affected them. What we have control over is what we can do. So, yeah, it's obviously been one of those weeks, but, you know, we've got a game to play, and our focus has been certainly on preparation because our form hasn't been first class the past month.
Yeah, as you say, you've had a little bit of a dip yourselves, but you did get back on track down in Wales. Do you feel that you're getting back to somewhere like you want to be now?
Yeah, there were some good signs last week. I didn't think it was a complete performance from us, but I thought there's some good signs both offensively and defensively to give me some encouragement. And we know that we're going to have to up the ante a little bit in the final third of the season. So hopefully it's you know, a little bit of a catalyst for us to put a better performance together for longer periods tonight.
Brian, you've been at the top of the coaching game for almost a decade now. Has this been the toughest week you've had as a coach?
Oh, it's been a good week. We've practiced well. With late withdrawal of Martin Gleeson, I hope hasn't affected us too much, but we're ready for performance. You know, our last showing wasn't great, and we need to put that right first and foremost. Obviously, there's been a few other things going on behind the scenes, but we're not in control of that. We're in control of what we dish up tonight, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, as you say, there's a lot of things happened at the club this week, Gareth Hock and all sorts of other rumours which you can't control, but how do you feel the players will react to all that tonight?
Well, you know, when they cross the stripe, it's important that they represent Wigan pretty well. They're good players. And I really do think it's eating at them their last performance against the Celtic Crusaders, and that should fuel their fire. The other thing that needs to fuel our fire is we need to climb the league ladder and make sure we're in that the playoffs at the end of the year, and we're very, very determined to do that as well.
You've had a couple of weeks to stew on that Celtic Crusaders performance as well. Does that help, or would you rather get straight back out here?
Well, I don't know if it helps. It helps the psychiatrists that work with us. No, yeah, you'd like to get back on the day after. You know, I'm pretty confident had we picked the same team and the same game 40 minutes after the game result. Sometimes you need those kick up the backside to realise that your attitude was poor, and that was our problem the last time out. We've got the opportunity to put it right, and we're after a decent performance tonight. We're playing a very, very good, tough team on their home ground, so we're going to have to be good.
Well, the Robin, Rufus the Robin, he is winding up the crowd here at New Craven Park, which, to be fair, over the years has not been a bad hunting ground for the Wigan Warriors. They've won 6 of 8 visits to this ground since 1990. But as we have already said on the programme tonight, it is not one of the easiest places to come and win. Well, at the 10th attempt, Hull Kingston Rovers finally won in June in Super League last week when they beat the Celtic Crusaders 32-18. It was a scoreline that many said flattered Rovers. It halted a 3-game losing streak, however, and you never know, it could be the turning point, the pivotal point of their season. A very difficult week for Wigan. Gareth Hock's positive drug test and the speculation about the coach's future. Brian Noble has been at Wigan for 38 months now. Only John Money has enjoyed a longer unbroken spell at the helm of this famous club. But we talk about Warrington as Jekyll and Hyde in Super League. In 2009, that tag must belong to the Wigan Warriors. They beat St Helens 38-18 at the Magic Weekend in Edinburgh, and then went on to lose 3 of the next 4, including a fortnight ago against the Celtic Crusaders. It was the Crusaders' first win at the Brewery Field this year. Well, Wigan, almost apologetically, really, they come out of that players' tunnel and onto the field. I hope they tackle this game with a little bit more enthusiasm than as they entered the fray. There are plenty of Wigan supporters here to cheer them on. And of course there are plenty of Hull Kingston Rovers fans here to see them go down. The Rovers, though, third in the table. They're having their best season in Super League. They've won 3 games by 8 points or less this year, plus they drew at Bradford in round 1. So that's 7 points in close-run things as Mick Vella leads his players out. Wigan, well, on the other hand, they've lost 7 by 8 points or less. 14 points have gone a-begging, and they are 7 places below Hull Kingston Rovers. It really is a fine line this year, isn't it, between winning and losing in Super League 2009. But Hull, the city of Kingston upon Hull, is a magnificent rugby league city. The black and whites on the west, over here, the red and whites of Hull Kingston Rovers. And, well, at the moment, Rovers, they very much are the top dogs in the Engage Super League. Hull have lost today at Warrington. Hull Kingston Rovers here now taking on Wigan in the sunshine at Craven Park. It's a fantastic night, beautiful evening. The crowd in shirt-sleeve order, in great form. And let's hope the players of both sides are in great form as well. Thierry Alibert blows the whistle. We're underway, courtesy of the boot of Pat Richards. And a fascinating 80 minutes lies ahead.
Certainly is, Eddie, and of course the tension will be mounting upon Brian Noble, the coach, and of course the Wigan players. They know they've got to get off to a very, very good start. Very difficult to win here. Craven Park, very, very big crowd yet again. They really do love their rugby in this part of the world, and that is good defence. That's what they needed. They've got to muscle up tonight.
Yes, Wigan really must keep going at this pace. They must stop Rovers making progress if they can. That's Mick Vella who goes down on tackle number 4. Little dink over the top. It's a good kick as well. It turns Pat Richards around. The ball bounces horribly as well. It's picked up by Cameron Phelps. And a wonderful chase from Hull Kingston Rovers. Barry McDermott, that's exactly what Hull Kingston Rovers wanted after a very good defensive set from Wigan.
Absolutely, Eddie. I'm really looking forward to seeing the battle in the front rows today. Scott Wheeldon, a young man that came over from the other side in Hull FC, and Michael Vella, 2 excellent props. Michael Vella is the heartbeat of this Hull KR side. On the Wigan team, Stuart Field and Palliasina, they're on the bench. When they enter the fray, hopefully the game will have broken down a bit, allowing Palliasina to make those big charges and promote that ball.
It's Thomas Lulawai with the kick. He was tackled, if that be the right word. Certainly contact was made between him and Ben Gallier. Here is Sean Briscoe, 2 seasons at Wigan, 29 appearances. He was Chris Radzinski's understudy, really. He gets Ben Cockayne going here, and Peter Fox a quick play the ball. Carmon was surely offside.
Should have been a penalty. He's allowing the advantage. He's Alibert, the referee. But that was 2 very quick play the balls. Good work by both the wingers. They're in a real prime position now. Surely they'll go for the kick on the 5th.
It's into the arms here of Jake Webster. This is the last tackle coming up for Hull Kingston Rovers. Ben Fisher is there. There's a problem for George Carmont. He is down out of the defensive line as the kick is hauled wide to the right-hand side, left-hand side. He's lost it. It's a try for Peter Fox. I think it was Amos Roberts who lost that ball. It went high into the sky, and the sun is shining straight into the face of Amos Roberts. He did not defuse the bomb. And Peter Fox, 2 tries for England in France. So did Sean Briscoe, his club colleague here. More than 80 career tries now. And Peter Fox, one of the most dangerous wingers in the Super League. His 11th try of the campaign. A new 3-year deal signed last month. But just 1 try in the last 8 appearances. It's been a long time coming, but a great start for Rovers.
You've got to use the advantage, and the advantage was the sun would have been right into the face of Amos Roberts. It wasn't the best attempt, but what about the quick thinking from Paul Cook? As soon as he got the spare ball, it was over the top, and it was an easy try for Peter Fox. Bang, straight into it, no one at home. Tremendous start. Can he add the 2?
Michael Dobson, he's the man with the kicking responsibilities, of course, and that's the reason why. It's 6-0 to Rovers. A dream start for Justin Morgan and the Rovers supporters. and the team, of course.
Yeah, great start, Eddie. I've been keeping an eye on George Carmont ever since that try was scored. We're just watching it here now. Terrific kick from Michael Dobson. We spoke about it before the game. He needs to be put under pressure. Amos Roberts, well, I've seen him take plenty. Unfortunately, he's come with that error, and Peter Fox will never score an easy try. Just to go back to George Carmont, he is holding a shoulder. He's down for quite some time when that try was scored. The physio's been out to him. He still looks in all sorts of trouble, and I'm not too sure whether he's going to get through this game or not. He's trying to work it out, but I've got a feeling that he might have missed the last game because of a shoulder problem. I'm just wondering whether that's a reoccurrence or not. We'll have to keep a bit of an eye on George.
Well, he definitely missed Bridgend or rather a fortnight ago, the last game. Well, what a start for Hull Kingston Rovers. They've won 5, lost 3 here. Home form, you think, will hold the key to their season. They're just one of the 4 to have won more at home than they have lost. And it's Vella who plays the ball. This is Fisher. A dipping pass into the arms of Ben Galliard eventually.
The Michael Dobson kick that he put up was absolutely outstanding, and that's the great strength that Hull KR have got. The front rowers get them into the right parts of the pitch, and with Dobson and Cook, they've got all the tools in the box to make sure they put pressure on.
Here's Wellham, and Wellham has got support both ways. Oh, Fox goes down, no challenge, but they have got away with it. He just brushed away, and there's another problem over on that side. There is a player there holding his shoulder. I think it might be Tim Smith this time. Well, whatever has happened to Wigan defensively, they have been cut to ribbons early, and Peter Fox over for his second try of the match. The first was easy. The second looked as though it might be more difficult because he received the pass from Wellham. He just slipped, but he just got up and he then bounced out of the challenges.
Poor defence on the blind side, and Wellham came in on the angle. All he had to do was just draw the full back. Even though Fox did a cartwheel forward, he turned around and handed him off. And that was a problem there. Smart work on that short blind side. Well, I'm watching it go straight to it. It's yours. Take it. Up. Over. And he just pushed him away. And Smith, well, he has a problem with that. And Fox caught it spot on onto the shoulder. And he couldn't apply any weight to get anywhere near the winger.
Massive problems for Wigan, but Dobson has missed with his second kick. Massive problems injury-wise for Wigan, and on the scoreboard where they are losing 10-0. Tim Smith is on his way off, I think. And I think also George Carmont, he is on his way off.
Eddie, I'm just looking at the Wigan bench and just wondering how they're going to reshuffle. That looks like a shoulder injury as well. Tim Smith can't get anywhere near Fox here. He's jogging backwards and he can't put any kind of effort together because he's carrying his arm. All he needed then was a sling.
Yeah, the left arm was hanging down, and Fox knew very quickly. You can't blame Fox. He just pushed his hand right into the chest, and he just couldn't apply any pressure to a defensive tackle.
You kind of get the feeling he may have injured it before that, don't you? He's carrying that. He's obviously hurt it in a tackle before. But Sam Tompkins will go straight into that role. Sam Tompkins will go straight to into the pivot role. He'll play on the right side. It's a like-for-like swap for Tim Smith. So they don't lose a lot there, Barry. But
who will go in the centre, though?
Well, I think George Carmont is still on the field.
He's hanging in. He's hanging in there, George Carmont. But he's not looking clever.
They need him,
Cameron
Eddie.
Phelps moves this ball back out.
They need him, Eddie. That's the point I was making. If you lose 2 backs when you've only got 1 back on the bench, then you really do need to shuffle round. Of course, we've got Phil Bailey, who's in the centre. There's Carmont. We've got Phil Bailey, who normally plays in the pack, playing in the other centre.
Indeed so. 10 minutes gone. Let's go down to Rod for injury news.
Well, as you said, Eddie, George Carmont is soldiering on out there, but he's been almost forced into that because of the injury to Tim Smith. Smith has descended down into the tunnel, clutching his wrist. The Wigan doctor has gone in to have a look at it. I wouldn't bet on Smith coming back, to be quite honest with you. Carmont is trying to shrug off that shoulder injury. And, of course, remember that Martin Gleeson pulled a hamstring in final practice yesterday. It doesn't rain, but it pours for Brian Noble.
You're absolutely right, and here comes Ben Cockayne. Playing on the wing tonight, a missed tackle. It was a good job that Luluai was there. This is Briscoe, And here they come again, Hulkingston Rovers. They are smelling blood here.
They certainly are. The Wigan defence, they're falling off the would-be ball carrier. Not only that, Rovers had been able to go halfway through the tackle and offload. The support is superb. Quick play the balls as well. Remember, two quick play the balls. Cockayne and Fox, the two wingers, applying the pressure, and Brian Noble knows he's in a lot of trouble.
There's a mistake, though. That's the mistake that Wigan were hunting, and this is Lulawai, Harrison Hansen man, who got in a thunderous challenge. And so Riddell is at dummy half for Wigan. Here now is Andy Coley. And Coley just staggers almost into the challenge from Michael Vella. It's now with Riddell. Riddell to Tompkins. And Tompkins tries to go through the gap.
Big opportunity for this youngster as well, Sam Tompkins. He knows he's got to come out and play the game of his life, but that won't help.
Brother Joel drops the ball with no pressure on him whatsoever.
Well, about very little possession, and you can see there an experienced player. He took his eyes off the football, looked at the onrushing traffic. That could prove costly. They're playing right into the hands of the Robins at the moment.
Fisher gets the ball wide. This is Wielden, Joel Tompkins, and brother Sam close him down. Here's Fisher again. Thought about the pass on the inside. A couple of missed tackles there again in defence from Wigan. Coley then to the rescue with Riddell. Briscoe waits the dummy half. Here now is Dobson. Little juggle. Ball back on the inside. That was Newton, and Phelps managed to get to him. Fisher, Dobson stabs the kick down the line.
Great
Phelps.
kick.
Ooh, he nearly took a step out there of the field of play. Just managed to bring himself back off the whitewash. Watch this. Oh.
Great play, but it was a wonderful kick as well. Michael Dobson gaining in confidence when he starts taking control. He's not only just a good kicker, once he gets him through, he's normally the first person there in the chase. They've been a lot quicker, a lot smarter of Rovers from the play the ball area.
And they're looking on their left-hand side. They keep looking at that short side play. Great defence coming in from Hull here. I think they've identified something on Wigan's right, and they're looking to expose that.
This is Carmont for Wigan. He was under pressure then from Cockayne, under pressure from three more.
Just interesting to note that Nick Fozzard's got on the field. Now, after 10 minutes, Michael Vella's come off. I can only think that's an injury as well. There seems to be a lot of injuries out there. I would be surprised and staggered if that was a tactical move to bring Mick Vella off after just 10 minutes.
Good hit from Riddell then, helped out by George Carmont. That will do Carmont's confidence the world of good on Peter Fox. Peter Fox, the two-try scorer here in the opening 11 minutes. Fozzard will drive it forward again for the Robins.
Good work by Mark Riddell there. 3 tackles on the row. It's always nice to see them working at the marker, but you can see how easy the red and whites are getting over the advantage line.
Fisher and Paul Cook. Cook takes it up to the Wigan defence. That's the last tackle. And Fisher is there, and Dobson is pointing in the opposite direction as Fisher chips it over the top. Cameron Phelps will pick it up, but Fisher leading the chase with Webster. It's good pressure from Rovers.
Certainly is, and the chase, as we mentioned before, quite superb, but it did surprise me that they didn't try to emulate the high kick into the right-hand side where Amos Roberts came up with the error. It's one thing to keep kicking through, but if you've got a man that's a little bit nervous, put him under pressure time and time again.
I think Ben Fitch has just took it upon himself just to dink it in the corner, put him in the pockets and make Wigan come out knowing they're going to force an error.
Amos Roberts overran the pass from Tompkins. Joel Tompkins, that is. I don't think there's much wrong with the pass. I just think Roberts got the timing all wrong. Look, he was way ahead of his centre there.
It happens a lot. Despite their full-time professional, they like to get that little half metre down there. I don't know why. It's always better to run onto the football, and Tompkins will probably get the blame for that, but you're right, Eddie. Nothing wrong with the pass. He's just in a poor position. Not having the best game, Roberts.
Yeah, I think on that angle, though, it's a combination of both. And, you know, when you're playing short side, you actually want your outside players to play up. They need to play fairly flat. So I think a bit of blame on both parties there.
Penalty here. Briscoe was trying to get up and play the ball quickly. Bailey was all over him, wouldn't let him go. And it looks as though Rovers here, as we watch the replay, why? Bailey and Hansen, they've taken the tap. Here goes Fisher again. That was the first penalty of the match. 13 minutes have gone.
Just shows you the confidence, though, running through the home side. Not even interested in the 2 points on offer.
Dobson looks for runners. It's Cook over the top. He finds Fox. Nearly important tackle by Sam Tompkins. That was nearly the hat-trick. Wellham to Dobson. Dobson then to Briscoe. Forward pass.
Well picked up as well by the French referee, Thierry Alibert. Well, maybe it could prove a little bit costly. Nothing uncertain about it. It was spot on. Roberts just coming in. It can be a nightmare. His positional play is not the best. He's got the speed. We know that. But he's got to defend, put himself in the right position time and time again.
And such a prolific try scorer in the NRL, Amos Roberts as well. 106 tries in 177 appearances. Just 5 in Super League this year. And they say that the defences are tougher in the NRL than they are in the Super League. Well,
it depends which centre you're playing with, Eddie, as we well know.
That's true. And stats always lie, don't they, Steve?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, they can. And the one stat that Brian Noble, the Wigan coach, has to do is to make sure that their defence is becoming a little bit more sturdy.
Riddell goes down, tackle number 5, only 40 metres away from his own line. With a good defensive set from Rovers here. Richards, one of the best kickers of the ball. For length, downfield. Cocaine, though, will run this back. Fielden is out there. First tackle made by Stuart Fielden. And Noble, well, at least he knows after a horror start, his men have just settled themselves down a little bit. They were 10-0 down after 6 minutes. We've had about 9 minutes of calm as far as Wigan are concerned so far.
Well, Noble know things can change in a game of rugby league. 15 minutes gone, and Wigan have not applied any sort of pressure. Not even a good kick and chase into the corner. They're getting nowhere near the attacking zone.
Good kick from Dobson. All along the ground, he saw that there was a space there between Phelps and Roberts. Oh, that's a good ball from Phelps to Roberts. And we said that Roberts has got some pace, but he's halted by Dobson. There was nobody in support with him, to be fair.
That was brilliant play, though.
Here is Tompkins. I think I credited Michael Dobson with that challenge. It was Sean Briscoe.
Sean Briscoe's one of the best defensive fullbacks in the game. Just saw Chris Radlinski with the reserve team. He's helping out at Wigan these days. Reminds me a lot of Chris Radlinski. Does Sean Briscoe.
This is Fielden taking on Clint Newton. Luluai dummy half. Wigan rarely in the opening 16 minutes have been inside the Hull Kingston Rovers half of the field, but they are now. And Fox has made a mess of that. It's 6 to go. They won't need 6. Great try. Great strength that was there. Try is given. And it's Phil Bailey. Wonderful strength. It was a nice little kick. It put Peter Fox in all sorts of trouble. Fox, the hero of the 2 tries that Rovers have scored, but there he just couldn't get the ball in, and Phil Bailey comes up with a try that Wigan were desperate for. First foray into Rovers territory, and they come up with the reward.
Super little neat kick just over the top. Beautiful stuff there. Oh, it's a real mess, wasn't it? And full credit to Roberts. 0-0 from both sides. O'Loughlin, the kick through. Made a right porridge of it. Didn't he pick that up well?
And Thierry Alibert checks with his touch judges and gives the try. He gets as excited as we do.
Well, I might take the task on that, but the one thing the man in your picture is Brian Noble will be extremely pleased, mainly due to the fact that the one and only attacking ploy against the home side, and you come up trump. Well, it's amazing. 60 seconds earlier, it looked for all the world that Mr. Peter Fox was going to get a hat-trick within 13, 14 minutes. And then he comes up with an error, and Wigan are back in this game. It can be funny at times.
Richards with that crowd behind him trying to put him off, and they succeed. 10-4. But importantly, Wigan are on the board.
And it's the first time, as we've said, that Wigan have been down into that part of the pitch. and we look at what they do, we look at what questions they asked him. Sean O'Loughlin just puts it on the end of his toe. Very intelligent.
Oh, and that's out on the full.
Yeah.
That was very intelligent by Thomas Luluai, and he almost did the splits in getting his foot on the whitewash here. Look, he catches it, and at the same time, his foot is on the whitewash. That's out. It's out on the full.
Well, the rub of the green has turned around completely, hasn't it? And I just got the impression, you know, when Fox was so close to getting that hat-trick, I don't think Wigan would have got back into this game. I think a few of the heads would have gone down. We know they've got injury problems. I don't really think that they could have got and put him to the task of this Hull Kingston Rovers, but now they've got the opportunity.
Well, they have. It's a great start for Rovers, but Wigan are just grinding their way back into the match. It was a lovely little dink over the top by the skipper. Oh, it's in possession here. Forward pass. Well, about 10,000 voices raised then to shout forward, and Thierry Alibert obliged.
Certainly was. He just overrun it, didn't he? The skipper. Good work, though, by the sub, McAlorum. Had a fine season, despite it being a bit up and down for the Warriors this year.
A great play by Mickey McLaurin there. The Hull KR defenders expecting that ball to go behind the player. With half a yard, that would have been a certain try.
And what you've just seen, though, is an example of how this game can turn very quickly. If you get a couple of sets of 6, all of a sudden you get a lot of pressure put on defensively. Wigan did so well to break the game down. They broke it down a little bit with just a short kicking game, put pressure on Peter Fox, scored the try, then they come back from an error from a kick-off, and all of a sudden they're down there again. So that's how quickly this game can change. And we're going to decide that can take advantage of that if they're given field position and some opportunities.
You just caught a glimpse of Tim Smith on the bench there. At least he is back out in the dressing room. The kick from Scott Morrell down the line, another little tester for Phelps. That bounced a little unkindly for him, but it was a tremendous chase from Rovers, led by Dobson, and also the number 16 for them, who is just off the bench, Jason Netherton.
Pretty impressed with the way that Hull Kingston Rovers today have got their first and second markers. Look, they're coming in very, very quickly as well. They're virtually forcing Wigan down that central passage.
McAlorum skip away from the would-be challenge of Netherton. Plays the ball here to Luluai. Luluai then looks and finds that Joel Tompkins is there to knock it down. It's a knock-on. It was Paul Cook who got a hand out to that, just snaked the arm out.
You know, sometimes a lot of people that would suggest that what Paul Cook has done there is quite intelligent, but it's not, because it's virtually given Wigan another set of 6. Now, I often think you're better off either commit yourself to take the man.
Whenever you're teaching kids to play this game, you talk about interceptions and stuff. If you get your hand to the ball and you can get it back, then you're a hero. If not, you just make your teammates work a bit harder. Excellent from Cook. To be fair, it's a reactionary thing from Paul Cook.
Yeah, that's instinct. There's not much you can do. That's instinctive.
I was going to make the point about Mickey McLaurin. It's really, really positive that when he's come off the bench, the level that Wigan are playing at is significantly higher than the start of the match, and I don't think that's by accident as well. I think Brian Noble chose specifically to start the game a certain way, and then at the chosen point change the pivot.
Brilliant run from Sam Tompkins. Oh, the pass though, well, it's found Carmont, and Carmont will get it down under pressure from Webster. It was a wonderful, wonderful pass from Tompkins, and a great run from well, not a wonderful pass, a wonderful run from Tompkins, an easy pass, and it bounced kindly in the end for George Carmont, and suddenly the Wigan supporters have got something to cheer about here, because they've got a kick to come, and they're going to wipe out Rovers' 10-point advantage that they built early on. Carmont, earlier on in this match, was holding his shoulder, manipulating it, we thought maybe back into place, in all sorts of trouble. Now look at him.
Here's the incident where Paul Cook gives them the possession from the scrum brace. Well, we said it was a good opportunity for this guy to come off the bench because of injuries. As you say, it was not the best, but George Carmont says, I've got it down. Good positioning by Mr. Ali Bear. Stand up, make your name, son, and that is exactly what he's done. He is a talent. His young Tompkins, Sam that is. And it could not have come at a better time because Cameron Phelps was having treatment way back whilst Wigan was launching that attack. They are going through the horrors when it comes to injuries at the moment to the Warriors, but with this kick...
They level the scores. It's 10-all. And Carmont, on his 50th appearance for Wigan, has come up with a crucial try, but it was created by the youngster Sam Tompkins. Now, I know that when you play youngsters, Sean, you take your chances, because sometimes they can be brilliant, sometimes they can play wonderfully well, sometimes you have to live with their mistakes. But all the time that we've seen Tompkins this year, he has been exceptional.
Oh, he's an outstanding talent. He's an outstanding talent for a couple of reasons. One, he's got pace. And pace is a very difficult thing to put on anybody. He is naturally quick. He's tough. He looks a little spindly, doesn't he? He looks a little bit small to be playing this game in terms of weight at the moment, but he's a tough kid. He can certainly defend, but he reads play very well, and he threatens. Every time he goes the line, he threatens. I think he's a real talent, this kid.
He's got great balance as well, Sean. He rides tackles, and whenever he gets into contact, he doesn't automatically look like he's going to fold up and collapse. He looks to ride things, and he looks to make things happen, just like this fella.
Big Palliasina, you talk about the size of Tompkins and the size of Palliasina. Looks like we've got David and Goliath out there. Great ball from Phelps to McAlorum. Here's the skipper, O'Loughlin. Straight down the throat, though, with the kick to Sean Briscoe.
Good pressure there by the Rovers defence. It had to be as well. I must say the fact that Brian Nobles had no option but to send out a few out there from the bench, but we've already seen the skill factor of Sam Tompkins, but I also think the introduction of Mike McAlorum into the dummy half area has really injected a lot more spirit into the Wigan side.
I think the subs are going to play a big part in here. It was very sunny early on in the day. The sun's just dropped a little bit, but it's very humid. You need to be intelligent with your big fellas. Play them in short spurts, and two of the best coaches in the game here today.
This is Jason Netherton, meanwhile, for Rovers. He made his 100th appearance for the club last week against the Celtic Crusaders. And it's interesting to draw a form line between these two. They both, in the last matches, played Celtic Crusaders. Rovers won easily down at Bridgend. Wigan, of course, they became Celtic Crusaders' first victims at home. They lost a fortnight ago. Embarrassing, I think, was the word that Brian Noble used. And they have been sitting around in Wigan for the past fortnight, wanting to put what they believe will be that wrong to rights.
Well, they must have thought for the first only 13 minutes it was a bit of deja vu, wasn't it? I mean, they raced away, did the home side to a 10-0 lead. Quite frankly, it looks as though Wigan were not in the races. That should be a penalty. He's allowed their advantage.
Tompkins again brought to the ground by Ben Fisher. And this time he gets the penalty. Actually, that's a bit harsh compared to the first one, because Fisher, well, he did have hold of him, to be fair, but Tompkins was all over him as well.
Well, he was trying to get up and play the ball quickly, and they're being slow, Mr. Alibert, but it wasn't on the second occasion.
I think that penalty could have gone the other way. Palliasina actually using the ball to get up, Steve-O. I think that's illegal these days.
It is. Don't let's start on play the ball.
I'm going to say we could spend all night, couldn't we? And feet behind the in-goal area.
It's Fielden, straight in to Newton.
And it's the likes of Fielden that really have got to stand up and sort of take it through. Palliasina, we know, has got the power. But this fellow at dummy half, he's controlling things out there. He's having a fine game.
That's Tompkins, and there's brother Joel. Can't extricate himself away from those three. Quick play the ball to McAlorum. Finds Cameron Phelps. He steps inside one, steps inside two. Looks for support. Oh, it's a knock-on. A knock-on by Ben Fisher. Well, that was unfortunate for Fisher, but wonderful work from Phelps.
Certainly was, and Fisher put himself in a good position, trying to prevent the offload, and when it came, he just couldn't gather it in. It's a rough time for Justin Morgan at the moment.
Ben Fisher, 40 tackles. He topped the tackle count in South Wales last week, and here's a major problem for Clint Newton, who tries against the Celtic Crusaders last week. A try in a 12-18 defeat at Wigan last year. And Newton, well, he's ever present in the team so far this year. He wants to carry on by the looks of things.
Not that I'm a betting man, Eddie, but I'd like to have a pound on there's nothing wrong with Clint Newton there. I think that was we need a break. We're looking a little vulnerable, and I think they're in a bit of bother, Hull KR.
They are, because Luluai has found Phelps. Here is Richards. Richards. Now then, does he get that down? Did he get that ball down? Thierry Alibert wisely hands it upstairs to video referee Ben Thaler to have a look at. Or did the fullback Briscoe do his job and get him over the whitewash?
The foot's okay.
This could be a remarkable...
The foot's okay. The foot's okay. It's down. That's try time. That is a remarkable score. You won't see a better TRY than that, because I reckon he's got it down before the knee goes anywhere near the whitewash.
Look at the corner flag, though. Is that on a wobble? Has that moved?
He's nowhere near it. He's got his leg right underneath. I'm not sure, Steve.
I think he's given this.
I think they're at the same time.
Well, benefit of the doubt has got to go to the attacking side, and I think Richards will be given it. The foot does not go anywhere near, and neither does the boot. I reckon he's got that down.
That's a better angle, you see.
Back, gone, and then it's an in.
Well, is the foot on the line there?
I don't think so. No, this foot that's trailing, no, it's well, I reckon this will be a try.
Well, Ben Taylor's the man with the decision, and he says a try. Sean Briscoe, he turned and grimaced. Justin Morgan raises the eyebrows, but Pat Richards claims the 4 points, and that's a remarkable try from Pat Richards in the corner. It really is. The Irish international in the World Cup, full-back in the last game in South Wales, and Pat Richards has come up with one of the best efforts in scoring a try this season so far, and Wigan were in front.
Came from the Fisher knock-on, from the scrum base, linking through, beautiful pass. How on earth has he scored that against one of the best defenders in Super League? He takes Sean Briscoe on, and that's not an easy matter. So strong, brilliant effort, and they are totally stunned here, the red and white. It looked oh so easy, but it did last night, didn't it? When Castleford raced away to a commanding lead. He can't believe it, Justin Morgan, but I think he's got it right.
And here comes Pat Richards, and he doesn't improve it. But Richards' try, my mind goes back to a game we saw, and I don't know whether it was last year or the year before, when Ali Lawatiti launched himself in the corner at Headingley to score a try similar to that. I just wonder whether his back foot was trailing on the whitewash then, Pat Richards.
Pat Richards is an exceptional player. Worked with him in the World Cup with Ireland, as you mentioned, but an outstanding player. His awareness to get that ball down and almost try to levitate before he could get it down. But there was a well-constructed try from Wigan there. They were fighting fires for the opening 15 minutes. Hull KR got out of the blocks really strong, and it seems to have reversed.
Well, 24 hours ago, we saw a 10-point lead being built up by the Castleford Tigers. By half-time, the Catalan Dragons had got it back to 10 apiece. Inside half an hour here, Wigan have edged in front. A horror start for them, but suddenly they're back on the horse.
Well, Eddie, there was a time when Wigan had to make 35 tackles more than Hull KR had. Hull KR have now gone in front 90 to 87. So that just indicates what's happened. Hull KR haven't had the ball. They've not had any field position. Of course they haven't had the ball. And there's been a couple of repeat sets. And with that, that's why I said just before that try, Hull KR to me will look invulnerable. You saw Clint Newton hit the ground. That was just to give his teammates a break. There's plenty of walkers. They've got plenty of walkers now. They're losing shape in attack because they've not spent any time down in the opposition's half.
Had a little bit of luck, perhaps, going Wigan's way, and the fact that first it was Paul Cook, remember, went for the knock-on, got the set, they scored, Wigan. We saw that again from the hooker Fisher. He got the knock-on. Wigan scored from the scrum.
Here's Galea on to Fisher. A little fumble maybe from Briscoe. Briscoe is spun to the ground by the Wigan defence. Fisher again. They go down that left-hand side once more. Galea will drive it in. He'll play the ball. I was going to say he'll play the ball. I suppose he did. It's Dobson with a high kick looking for Chev Walker. Only found Pat Richards.
Took it very clean and calmly, didn't he? With a lot of pressure, the recent try scorer, but amazingly, he took that ball not too high with the arms raised. Under a lot of pressure.
Cameron Phelps plays the ball here to Amos Roberts. They're through, of course, Wigan to their second cup semi-final in 3 years. But they face the equivalent of a cup tie now each and every week from here on in if they want to make it to the playoffs.
Scott Burrell absolutely smashed Palliasini when he got that ball. You don't have to be a rocket surgeon to know that you need to get up quick on him. He's got the ball away a couple of times.
A rocket surgeon. Well,
You need a good scalpel to get through that.
What do you want to do when you leave school, son? I'm going to be a rocket surgeon.
well, at least funny when you take the heat off Steve-O, don't you?
Instead of taking the kidney out, you pick out the rocket.
Penalty here to Hull KR, which has been greeted by ironic cheers.
Lulawai went. Good job, he just pulled the arm at the last moment. The intent was there. Now this is where rowers have to start. Just settle down, okay? It's gone the visitor's way for quite some time. Just take it nice and steady. Get back to basics. Get themselves into a good position. They know the quality. They know they've got Paul Cook, Michael Dobson out there. They can create.
Is Vella is back on the field. Must have been a substitution for tactics. Here is Dobson. Walker couldn't take that in.
Wasn't the best pass. No advantage.
And Cameron Phelps not interested in trying to get back over the advantage line. He just said, look, we'll take the scrum feed here. Look, let's not bother. It's too hot.
Well, Walker's angle was good coming through, but he just overran it. Justin Morgan realizes that they have frittered away a tremendous start. 2 early tries from Fox.
This is Sean O'Loughlin.
Eddie, just want to go back to Michael Vella when he's come back on the field with his knee very heavily taped. I don't know whether that was taped when he started the game. I was just making the point that just seemed a bit strange to come off after 10 minutes. Perhaps Rod might have some information for us sometime in the game.
We'll get him on the case, Sean, don't worry. Here's McIlaurin. You know, 6 weeks ago, Rovers ended Wigan's 4-match winning streak. They won 2012 at the JJB Stadium. Dobson trying 4 goals, pivotal to that result. Here tonight, it's Wigan who are ahead 14-10. We've got just under 7 minutes to the half-time break. Palliasini goes down. McIlaurin waits at dummy half and then gets the kick in.
Good one, too. Oh, that is a belter.
It is a good kick. Finds touch over on that far side.
Well, the youngsters are standing up, showing a lot of prowess, and they're thinking quick on their feet. That's a beautiful kick into the corner.
He's a great player, Mickey McLaurin, another bloke who I worked with in the World Cup. Not even sure whether hooker is his natural position. He's just such a talented player. To play him in a number of positions. He's a Leeds-born lad as well.
Just another word about Mick Vella, Sean. He has missed 6 games with a knee injury this year. So maybe he did need a few running repairs on the knee, which allowed Fozzard to have his 15-20-minute spell.
But he can sense at the home crowd, they want their side to just up the ante.
Well, Vella, and there he is. He is so important to this team. He's the leader. He's the natural leader. And he gets the penalty.
Well, it took a while for the man with the whistle to make the decision. Sean O'Loughlin didn't rush to get off his body.
He looks like he is carrying that knee, to be fair. To go back to Michael Vella, he's one of those glue players that we talk about that does all the untidy stuff, all the unselfish work for everybody else. In rugby league, we talk about push-through, pushing into that next hole to take flies off your player. And he does that more than anybody in this Hull KR side.
Referee just holding up the play because a second ball had come on the field. We've got the one that we need now, and it's with Rovers. And this is Paul Cook. Joel Tompkins with the tackle. Ben Gallier will drive this in. Gives it to Dobson. On the charge is Vella. So important. So important to this team. Wigan appeal that he bounced at. It did, I must say, fly out of his grasp after he got over the line. But Michael Vella believes that he has scored the try. A little nod to his teammates there. And that's good for them.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. That was a good build-up as well. It's sufficient. Fingertip control has brought the home side well and truly back into this game.
Vella has got the try for Rovers. It's 14-all with a kick to come. Joy for the red and white supporters. Joy for Mick Vella as well. He returned last week. His return gives them an enormous boost for the back end of this season, and he just proved exactly why there. Such experience and such leadership.
It's all about putting yourself in a very good position, and Dobson knew that he was coming back on the angle. The strength was there, and watch how Vella, he'll pick out the smallest man, Thomas Luluwai. He comes right on the angle. All came about from the silly penalty. So Vella got the penalty and then finished it off in great fashion.
And Dobson will add the extras to nudge Rovers ahead again as we approach half-time. 16 points to 14.
It's a tough try and all that. Michael Vella, without doubt, is carrying that knee. He comes onto this ball as hard and as strong as if he is going to get it. Again, I'm not sure whether the Wigan players are expecting the ball to go behind, but Michael Vella slams that ball down. I was just chatting to a few of the blokes in my union, and we are trying to get a rule passed in rugby league that prop forward tries should be worth double.
Well, I suppose that the chairman of that union would be Terry O'Connor, who didn't score very many, so that's why he wants them to be made double. But I tell you what, that was a massive, massive 4 points and a massive contribution from Mick Vella. And I think Rod's got some information about that knee.
Well, accuse me of stating the obvious if you like, Eddie, but there isn't much wrong with Mick Vella, is there, on the evidence of that try he's just scored? But what he has done, he's picked up a bit of a dead leg, so they've strapped it up just to give it a little bit of protection. So there's nothing particularly wrong, just a bit of precautionary strapping for the big man.
Fair enough, and a telling contribution he has made, because Rovers now are 2 points to the good. And Dobson has gone for a 40-20 here. Oh, it just bounced the wrong way for him. Terrific kick, good chase as well. Richards surrounded by red and white jerseys.
Well, they didn't get the possession, but they certainly have forced Wigan way back into their own quarter. This is where they got to up the tempo, make sure the defence is good, but most important, Justin Morgan has tried to get it across to his side this year, not to give away silly penalties, something they did last season.
Ball's carted forward again by the big men. This is Paul Prescott. McIlaurin waiting at dummy half and finds O'Loughlin. Looking at Michael McIlaurin and Brian Noble is right now. He looks like a young version of Terry Newton, doesn't he?
Definitely, yeah, and I know Terry Newton's tried to mentor him and speak to him as much as he could. Terry Newton, while he were at the Rhinos and after he left to go to Wigan, it was again a player you weren't too sure whether he was actually going to make a hooker. But he's got all the cheekiness of a hooker, Steve-O. He just ruffled the hair of that Hulkiar player, but a great player and a bloke I've got a lot of time for, Mickey McLaurin.
Well, they can normally pick them out by their handsome looks.
Here's Chev Walker.
I've never met a handsome hooker.
This time.
There is a response to that, but I won't go anywhere near it. This is Cameron Phelps.
And another good kick and chase. Well, they were just off the boil, weren't they, their home side for about 10-15 minutes, which allowed Wigan back into the game. Take nothing away from their attacking prowess, the Warriors. But they looked a little bit jaded, and that
Great offload. And Tompkins was the man in support, and he gets another good pass away.
That was try time.
Carmon could not get the ball away legally.
Playing American football.
He did the right thing. He drew the fullback, Sean Briscoe, and Brian Noble realises that could have sent them in at the half-time hooter. Just lost control of it. Total control. Fingertips couldn't press the ball out in the normal fashion.
Somebody's just been shown the green card, which is the blood bin card by Thierry Alibert, and it's Paul Prescott, who, as you see, has got a graze on the cheek. Referee wants him dealt with, and he wants one more back in the scrum now because he's taken Prescott out of it. One more in.
He's got to fulfil the quota.
He's right, is Thierry Alibert.
Yep.
This is a chance for Rovers here with Fox.
Good sliding defence there by Wigan.
Carmon couldn't clamp the ball to Fox, so he got it away to Walker.
They knew that Fox would come over from the left wing, come in on the angle on the second phase, and it was read exceptionally well.
Jason Netherton, Daniel Fitzhenry as the dummy half. He gives it to Scott Morrell. Little dab down the line, invitation for Cockayne to chase this. But it's beaten everybody, and that will do them, I think. I don't think Cameron Phelps will be any hurry to take this 20-metre restart.